UK last year, I never expected to be in Atlanta within a year. Like just the other day, I logged onto Facebook and I saw, you know when they tell you that 1 year ago today post on Facebook, and it was like one of the first times I did this talk to a small university crowd in London, and I was in the middle of America looking at it like, yo, I never expected it to reach this far. So alhamdulillah, thank you for receiving me, thank you for having me, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come and hear my presentation. I mean, after Yusuf and Amir, I don't even feel like speaking anymore. I feel like we could just send everybody home. But alhamdulillah, this is what you guys came for, so inshallah we'll try our best to deliver it to you. This presentation came about, so yeah, alhamdulillah, before I start anything, I want to thank my brother Hassan Faye for bringing me out here, because, yeah, alhamdulillah. And the entire team at MAS Youth, because we planned all of this, I think, in about 4 days. Well, I say we planned like I did anything. They planned all of this within 4 days, and alhamdulillah, it turned out to be a very successful event. And as he said, yeah, our families go way back. His great-grandfather, his great-great-grandfather and my great-great-grandmother were neighbors. All the way back. Our great-grandfathers were friends. His great-grandfather was a sheikh, one of the biggest sheikh in Gambia at the time. And my great-grandfather was a Christian trader. And they were neighbors, they were friends. Our grandparents went to school together, so I visited his grandpa when I was in Gambia. And when he asked my surname Briggs, he was like, oh, your grandma used to make me lunch and play football with me when I was 7 years old. And then anytime I was in Gambia, the New Year's, his father would host a gathering, like a religious gathering. And at that time, I had converted to Islam, but my family were kind of resistant about me being Muslim and going to Muslim events. So when it was New Year's Eve, and his father would host events to bring the youth together at the time when everyone was going to the club, where everyone was, you know, doing different things. Gambia's lit in December, you know. You know. So New Year's Eve would come, and my grandma would be getting ready to go to church and then party after. And she'll look at me, she'll be like, where are you going tonight? And I'll be really going to his dad's event. I'll be like, no, I'm going to the club. Because if I said I was going to an event, like a Muslim event, she'd be like, come on, old man, where are you going to these religious events? But if I said I was going to the club, she gave me money for drinks. She gave me money for taxi. She gave me, so it was lit. So yeah, throughout my childhood, yeah, you know, I'd get dressed, go down to Banjo, chill with his dad, do dhikr and listen to talks and stuff till Fajr. So like, that relationship going back 5-6 generations, ending up here in Atlanta, alhamdulillah, like it's crazy. Allah plans, Allah's the best of planners.
Ameen.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. So thank you for bringing me out. Without further ado, so Beyond Bilal started as a presentation that I did when I was studying at university. So I studied Arabic and International Relations. And when it came time to do my thesis, I approached my professor and she said to me, so what do you want to write your thesis on? And I said, you have to choose either go down the international relations route or go down the Arabic route. So I said, I want to do it about Arabic. And she was like, okay, so what part of Arabic history or Arabic language do you want to write your thesis on? We've got some stuff about Egypt, we've got some stuff about the Middle East, you can talk about the, you know, the Nadwa and all of these things. I was like, no, I want to talk about Arabic literature and literacy in West Africa. And she looked at me and she was like, does that even exist? Like, is that even a thing? And coming from West Africa, knowing the tradition that we have and the fact that, well, let me not reveal too much, it's going to show up in the slide, inshallah. I said, yes, it was a thing. And that's the first time she, as a professor of Arabic, had even ever heard of Arabic literature and literacy in West Africa. So I realized, okay, there's a gap in the market. So I did my thesis. And then Black History Month came around, and one of my friends did an interview with the BBC, which is like one of the biggest, well, you all know the BBC, right? I don't know. I'm new to America, so I don't know what you guys know. So she did a radio interview with the BBC, and at the end of the interview, the presenter asked her, okay, so can you be black and Muslim at the same time? And as you can imagine, Twitter went crazy. And all the students across the country were talking about it. So there were panel sessions and kind of media media programs that were set up to discover the history of black Muslims and their experiences in the UK community. So I watched a few of these media presentations, and I took part in a few panel sessions, and most of the narratives that I was seeing were narratives of people feeling like they were excluded from the mainstream community, people feeling like their culture and their history weren't appreciated, black Muslims feeling like they weren't being made to feel welcome as part of the deen. And so when I was invited to my panel session, I was like, okay, well, I could tell you stories about, you know, when I went to the mosque and they asked me to call the adhan because of Bilal, or all of these kind of traumatic experiences that people were talking about. But I would rather talk about black history in Islam and Islam in black history, because I don't feel out of place as a black Muslim, because I've realized that my history is integral to Islam and Islam is integral to my history. But a lot of people just don't know this, and that's why we have these problematic situations. So I put together the beginning of what was to become Beyond Bilal. I presented it at King's College. Somebody from Oxford University that was in the crowd. You guys know Oxford, right? Yeah. I have to check, I have to make sure. Because when people, like, my wife is American, so there'll be things that will happen. Like, I remember when we were trying to furnish our apartment, she was like, yeah, I want to get some comforters, and I want to get some shears. And I was looking at her like, what's a comforter? Like, what's shear? What is shear? So I don't know what happens across the pond. So yeah, alhamdulillah. We managed to get the comforters and the shears. Yeah. So somebody invited me to Oxford. I did the presentation at Oxford, and then universities kept hearing about it and inviting me to panel sessions and to give lectures on like Islam in West Africa and black history in Islam, etc. So I did about 6 universities. This was 2017, and in 2018, our Black History Month is in October. So I said to myself, I'm going to put together a bit of my research and a bit of my presentations into one presentation and see if anybody wants to book me for Black History Month at the universities. And alhamdulillah, 20 universities actually came out and booked me. So every day of the Black History Month in the UK, I was given this presentation, running up and down the country, doing that. And then I got booked in Nigeria in December to deliver it in Lagos as well, alhamdulillah. And then now, alhamdulillah, I'm here in America with you guys. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like it's the 30th edition of Beyond Bilal. So I'm very honored to be able to share it with you guys here tonight. And without further ado, inshallah, we'll get straight to it. So usually, I like to start this presentation by asking the crowd. This is an interactive presentation. So if you feel like I'm talking too much, just put your hand up and be like, shh. So, and I start with facts and figures. So I would ask you guys, what percentage of Africa would you say is Muslim? And what percentage of the world's Muslims would you say live in Africa? It's not the same number. You got someone in the back? 75. 94%. Inshallah, one day. Thank you. 60%. Okay. 45. 35. 52. Okay. You guys just turn numbers around. Alright, so nearly 1/3 of the world's Muslims live in Africa. So that's nearly 32%. And 1/6 of the world's Muslim population live in sub-Saharan Africa. Because usually when people think of Africa and Muslims, they think of Morocco, Libya, Egypt. They never imagine Muslims in Africa. Yeah, so in Africa, yeah, you guys can kill me later on. 1/6 of the world's Muslim population lives in sub-Saharan Africa, and Muslims constitute 48% of the population in Africa, which is estimated to raise up to 60 or 70% within the next 20 years. Wow. And just to compare numbers of countries traditionally associated with Islam to countries that are not usually associated with Islam, everyone's like, wow. There's 75 million Muslims in Nigeria, compared to 60 million on the Arabian Peninsula. So if you add up Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, you know, all the countries you see on Instagram, those equate to 60 million Muslims compared to 75% in Nigeria, which is one of Africa's 54 nations. So that's a significant number. And Ethiopia, for example, which is a Christian country in East Africa, has just as many Muslims as Iraq. Niger and Somalia have 98% Muslim population compared to Pakistan and Saudi at 97%. And Senegal has a higher percentage of Muslims than Egypt or Syria. The Senegalese population is 97% Muslim, Egypt is 95%, and Syria is 93%. But black history is not, in Islam, doesn't start there. Black history in Islam starts in the Quran. And there are many figures that have been named in the Quran that were black, described as black by the Prophet ﷺ himself or by the Mufassirin. And usually this is the part of the presentation when everyone's like, no. So I picked out 4 influential figures, and you'll see why they are influential figures. There are obviously way more than this that were black that were mentioned in the Quran, but just for the sake of time and making things concise, there are 4 influential figures that I picked. 3 of them were named by name in the Quran, and one of them is part of the Quranic narrative and is related to a few of the major characters in the Quran. And I want to ask you guys, before I tell you guys, who are those figures? We have some shuyukh in the building, like my Sheikh Muhammad Abdullahi, so he's disqualified. He's not allowed to answer because he probably taught me half of the stuff in the presentation. But for the rest of you, Luqman, Musa,
Hajib.
So the first one I picked was Adam. So when discussing Adam in the Quran, we have, okay, we're in the mosque, so who can recite this for me? Who's got good tajweed? So my voice is kind of rusty. Hassan Fay, where did Hassan Fay go? He's out of the building. Next lesson, inshallah. Go on, bro, in the blue, I can see you, they're all pointing to you, bro. Bismillah, Bismillah, go ahead. So you're my go-to guy for Quran tonight. It's me and you tonight. So when Allah was speaking about the creation of Adam, the most famous verse that we hear about is Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa, we're placing a representative in the earth. But in another verse of the Quran, Allah describes the creation of Adam and the mud he was made from, and he said he's about to create a bashar, a human being, from mud min hama'in masnoon. So when we want to understand the words of hama'in masnoon and why Allah chose those specific words to talk about the creation of Adam, and why he highlighted the fact that it's brown mud used to create Adam from, we'll go to the tafsirs. So the tafsirs are the explanations of the Quran by the traditional scholars. And in most of the tafsirs, so we have, for example, Qurtubi in his tafsir, he described Hama as a black mud. And Mahali and Suyuti in their tafsir, Tafsir Jalalain, which is the most widely referenced tafsir of the Quran in the Islamic tradition, they also say Hama is a black mud. And Tabari, the famous Islamic historian, says Hama is a plural of Hama, and it's a mud which has changed and become black. We also have other tafsirs that focus specifically on the linguistical choices of Allah in the Quran and the words and their origins, such as Shawkani, Baydawi, and Badawi. And all of them describe the mud that Adam was created from as being black. With Badawi saying some traditions state that Allah fermented the mud that Adam was created from and let it sit until it changed and became black, and then he created Adam from it. And Jawhari says the reason why Adam was named Adam is because of the Adam complexion that he was given. So for the Arabistans in the house, those people who study Arabic, what does Adam actually mean?
Loss of life. Absence. Loss.
Black? Sorry. Huh? Mud? Some people say mud, some people say
Absence of light.
Very dark. So if we go to the basis, the main references for the Arabic language, such as Talabi in his book Fiqh al-Lugha, he says, if the blackness of a person exceeds asma, then he's Adam. Yeah. So everyone's like, what does asma mean? What do people mean? Like tan, brown, etc. So if somebody is very dark in complexion, traditionally in classical Arabic they would describe them as being Adam alone. And this is a word I want you to remember because it comes up a lot in this presentation. Another scholar of Tafsir, Ibn Athir, said, when used to describe people, Adam means very asma. And Ibn Mandur, who authored Lisan al-Arab, which is the most referenced Arabic dictionary in history and the most comprehensive, says, people differ concerning why Adam was named Adam. But some of them say he was called Adam because of the Adam color that Allah gave him. And Khazin also reiterates this by saying Adam was named Adam because he was created from the Adim, the surface of the earth. And it's also said it's because he was Adam complexion. So we can see that the narrative of the first man being black is not a YouTube conspiracy theory, but it's something that is deeply ingrained in Islamic tradition. The second person that I chose to speak about was Musa. So we have a hadith narrated from the Prophet ﷺ. One of them is in Musnad Ahmad, where he says, وَرَأَيْتُ مُوسَى أَسْهَمَ آدَمَ. I saw Musa and he was a very dark-skinned man. And as for Musa, he was a dark-skinned man with curly hair. And Qurtubi, one of the famous interpreters of the Quran, also says about Musa's complexion that وَكَانَ مُوسَى أَسْمَرْ شَدِيدُ السَّمْرَ. Musa was very, very dark-skinned. And one of the proofs of this is this verse in the Quran, which our brother in the blue is going to re-recite to us. Yeah, bro, you can't run now. So one of the miracles of Musa was that he could put his hand in his pocket or under his arm and it would change color and come out Bayda, which is... So that would only be a miracle if he wasn't white in the first place. So Tabari explains Musa's hand turning white by saying, وَكَانَ مُوسَى فِي مَا ذَكَرْ لَنَا Adam. So Musa was, according to what we were taught, Adam in complexion. And his hand changing color was made a sign for him. Baydawi, the linguistic mufassir of the Quran, also says the same thing. Innahu alayhi salam kana Adam shadidul adma. He was very, very dark skinned, and so his hand changing color again was seen as a sign. So who's the third person? Could be anyone. Who's Yusuf? Isa. So there was, everyone's like, what? You don't can take Adam and Musa, but Isa, you were like, nah, bro. Hold on. So Isa ibn Maryam, there were many ahadith, some of which describe him as Ahmar, being red-skinned, but the most famous hadith and the most sahih describes him as being Adam. And due to this debate, Ibn Umar, the son of Umar bin Al-Khattab, said, Wallahi. And you know, when they said Wallahi, it actually meant something. He said, Wallahi. The Prophet ﷺ did not say that Isa was Ahmar, he was red-skinned. But he said rather, he was Adam. He saw a black-skinned man, Adam alone, circumambulating the Kaaba. And when he asked who he was told that he was Isa ibn Maryam. And then the fourth person is a woman, prominent woman in the Quran, and very essential to Islamic history. I'm still waiting. Hajar. So Hajar was ancient Egyptian, and we know that the ancient Egyptian people were a black, dark-skinned people. So Hajar looked more like a lot of the people in this room, and less like Elizabeth Taylor, as Hollywood would want to have you believe. I even have extracts of like Mawlids, for example, taught by our Sheikh Ibrahim Niass in Senegal, where he describes Hajar as nit ku ñuul, a black person. So he says, Hajar ci ñun la bokk, nit ku ñuul la woon. Hajar was a black person. She was one of us. So Hajar is significant in Islamic history because She's the wife of Prophet Ibrahim and the mother of Ismail and the ancestor of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And she's the founderess of the city of Mecca, because her husband left her in what is now the Hijaz. And when she ran in between Safa and Marwa 7 times and the well of Zamzam was revealed to her, she established her settlement, and then her husband rejoined her, and him and her son rebuilt the Kaaba and established what we now know today as the city of Mecca. So there's no greater testament to the importance and the centrality of black history in Islam than the fact that the father of humanity, the father of the Judaic tradition, the father of the Christian tradition, and then the mother of Mecca, where we face 5 times a day to pray, and once in a lifetime when we go on Hajj or Umrah, we reenact her struggle and her history by running through the 2 mountains of Safa and Marwa, was also described as a black woman. So all of this, mashallah, is a testament to the centrality of black history in Islam. And it doesn't stop there. Black Sahaba beyond Bilal. So most of us growing up will have this image of the Sahaba from watching movies like The Message and this and that, as a group of white, rosy-cheeked Sahaba and one random black Bilal to give the adhan. And that's how most people imagine the time of the Prophet ﷺ to be. But there were many other black Sahaba who played prominent roles within the Prophet ﷺ.